Hi, I'm Mascha. I offered to show some not so real Dutch cooking, but it's Dutch Indian cooking. It's not even Indian; it's Indonesian. My mother-in-law gave me this book with recipes, and I'll show you. It's really just typed up, and she put plastic around it because cooking gets messy. And most of the recipes I know by heart, although I do sometimes just flip through and I feel that I might have forgotten something. And what I generally do is I adjust, because in cooking I feel it's about what you have available in the house, and you try to have all the equipment and all the ingredients, but you don't always have them. So I prepared a little bit before we start. So I have a chicken broth here ready that's going to be added to the rest later. And what I'm going to make is called soto ayam. Soto is soup and ayam is chicken. So it's an Indonesian chicken soup that's more like a whole meal with the rice and all. It's not just like a side dish or a starter. We have everything. The whole thing about the Dutch Indonesian cooking is a lot of it started after a lot of the Indonesian Dutch Indies people came and migrated to the Netherlands, and that's where they brought the dishes that they remembered from home. And they adjusted them a little bit, and a lot of it is here offered in restaurants, and they call it rijsttafel, and which means you have all these little dishes and you eat them together. And a lot of the time they start with a small bowl of soup, but most Indonesians will eat like a whole plate of it as a meal, and not like what we do is like we like to pick little dishes. Well, my husband and I have been together for a very long time, but I've always enjoyed Asian food, really. So I had some variations of this soup that I made before I even knew the recipe, but I think I've been making this for like 25 years or so. And it was, well, I got all the other recipes because we had all this food at my husband's parents' house, and his aunts and his grandmother would always cook. All the family gatherings are mainly about getting together and eat. And so I helped out where I could, and so gradually I learned how. And then my mother-in-law, at some point, she made this, she typed over this recipe book that she had from her mother-in-law, and she gave me a copy, and my sister-in-law, she gave her a copy. So it's nice because now the kids, if they want to make some of it, they can also just go back and find what's written down, what their great-grandmother made. And then she lived to be 100, so they've met her. If we have large groups of people coming over, it's very easy for me to make Indonesian food, because I usually have all the leaves and roots and powders and everything. I just keep them in my freezer or keep them handy. The Indonesian tokos, all these people who came here, they started their shows. And there's one, actually, I'm very lucky in that is near my mom's house. She lives like 20 minutes away from here, and that shop and like small restaurant was voted the best toko in the Netherlands for a couple of times in a row. So it's good to have all the ingredients that I know that my mother-in-law and my husband's grandmother also used. Like I know the brand names and everything. There's what I recently learned in actual Indian cooking is that there's times where you can put in all the powdered herbs and roots. I never really thought about it that much. I also just put them in, what I was told when to put them in, but apparently, according to the Indian ladies at school that taught me how to cook, there's one friend of mine who actually had some groups of people come to her house and try to make the recipes together. She explained all the reasons of when, the tastes develop the most.
And how often do you make it?
I would say I would make a large pot like every 3 weeks at least, or when all of a sudden I know that on the weekend people will come, and I think, okay, I'll just make a big pot so that at least I have the sotto. And to a lot of people, all I have to do is make the soup and the rice. It's easy to boil the eggs with it, and most people only have this when they go to an Indonesian restaurant. And to me, it's one of those go-to recipes, right?
Have you ever had it in a restaurant?
Oh yes, yeah, and we're very judgy about it too. It's like, oh, this is way too much lemongrass, or this is too salty, or they don't add this or that ingredient. But yeah, I try them. We have a couple of favorite Indonesian restaurants where we go to, and sometimes I will have the soto, not often though. The soto that I like the most is my sister-in-law's. I don't know how she does it, but she's very good at just giving that little touch that it makes it different from mine or any other that I've tasted.
Do you know other Dutch people who know this recipe and make it?
Yeah, friends of mine who asked for the recipe.
Okay.
And actually there's quite a few people in the Netherlands who have relatives or sometimes neighbors or friends who were either born in Indonesia, so either real white Caucasian Dutch people who were stationed there and born there. They brought the recipes and the ideas of the food with them, and the Indonesians that lived there and had a Dutch passport. Obviously with my husband's family that we know quite a few, of course. But I know it's, I've seen it in magazines as well. People like to make the Thai kind of chicken soup. This comes close. It's just a different, some different ingredients or a way of approaching it. I think the Thai add more lemongrass and maybe more coconut tastes, and that's what I avoid because we traveled through Asia for a couple months. Indonesia and Malaysia, and in so many places, the poorer places, people would offer us, or we would buy food that was cooked with coconut oil, but at some point you just can't stand the taste of coconut oil anymore. It's just too much. It's actually, I found that in a lot of restaurants that aren't Asian oriented, more like a general kitchen, that they offer a soto ayam. So it's become quite popular for people. It's here. It's in Dutch, of course.
Yeah.
But we recently found out that my in-laws now live in Spain, so I was there visiting with my sister-in-law as well, and we were making something, and my mother-in-law all of a sudden said, "But I gave you the recipe for that, right?" I was like, "No, I don't have it." My sister-in-law was like, "I don't have it." I said, "Well, check my book." So we both don't have it, so we know there's more that we need to learn, and we're gonna have to make sure that we get those too, because Guido's grandmother was a great cook, and all his aunts as well.